Well, and the questions on floods and the El Nino and the response continues to dominate and occupy our time and minds and space. I'm joined now by Yusuf Farah, who's Wajir West Member of Parliament. Yusuf, good evening and welcome. Thank you for making time to talk to us. Talk to me about what's happening around First Wajir West and around the areas of Northeastern, which have been heavily impacted by floods.
Thank you, James. As you are aware, things are not looking good. If I talk about Wajir West, although I must talk about the whole Kenya who are suffering the same fate, but Wajir West, as we speak today, 80% of Wajir West are cut off from the rest of this country. No food, no medicine, no aid, no electricity, nothing. For the last 20 days, most of the villages in Wajir West, no vehicle went there and no vehicle left. So that means you can imagine the food or anything that was taken 20 days ago has already been exhausted. And people have nothing completely. They are only relying on maybe animal milk, which is not even now possible because of even the animals have been isolated from the people themselves or the villages. And the problem is becoming worse. It is too painful for us. And we made a lot of appeal to this government. It never came to their mind that the situation might be this
So I'm asking us on this point because the Met Department for the last 8 months consistently told us that there will be El Nino rains and these rains would be a lot, and this is it was supposed to sort of serve as a warning. Did you receive, when I was member of Parliament, I suppose when you're part of this structure and you receive these warnings, and did government, county government, national government put up any plans? Was there any contingency plans? Did anyone think about this?
My brother, as you're aware, the weatherman predicted this thing long ago, as you said, 8 months ago. But the president himself came out and said there will be no El Nino. That was the turning point of the whole preparedness. So everybody decided to listen to the president. I don't know who misadvised him at that particular time. And that made every department or everybody within this country not to think that the weatherman was correct. But today, the weatherman was vindicated by God. There is El Nino everywhere. The worst hit areas are northern Kenya counties, Wajir, Mandera, and Garissa. Initially, when this happened, just some 3 weeks ago, we appealed to many departments in this country. We had a meeting with the CS devolution, ASAL. We had a meeting with the Minister of Roads. We had meetings with the Red Cross. We tried to engage the Deputy President, but he never allowed us to meet him or even hear us. Nothing forthcame. It's only Red Cross who tried their best with the little resource they had, and the county government. The county government of Wajir and county government of Garissa and county government of Mandera did a wonderful work. They did their best, but they were overwhelmed. Their capacity was minimal. They did because they don't have, most of the roads have been washed away. So you can imagine somebody has no plane or aircraft to transport food from one point to another, and he can't use the normal means. All the roads, initially, there were no roads in the first place in northern Kenya. There was successive regime, the successive marginalization of those parts of this country, we have been saying. But now we can still see the same manifesting itself at the moment. If I may take you back just some weeks ago before the rains, there was a demolition that happened in Nakuru overnight, during the night. The following morning, the Deputy President of this country was there, sacking people and telling people not to demolish other people's home. But in northern Kenya, we were crying for help. During the drought, nothing happened. It's only the resilience of those people in northern Kenya, God has helped them to overcome.
Why do you think there's no response? What is this reason why would you say the government is not treating the flood situation in northeastern Kenya worst hit, because the whole country is being pumped by rain?
I believe there is no connection in the national government to the people of North.
Explain that. What does that mean?
It means people, to my belief or my understanding, if you see today the budget, Kenyan budget, only 15% goes to the county government. 85% remain in the national government. Out of that 85%, it is 0.001% that goes to the northern Kenya. What does that tell you? Why is that happening for 60 years of independence? Today, as we speak, the roads have been washed away, demolished completely. No health facility, all submerged and marooned by water, all village.
Right.
You will not see the Minister of Roads coming out and explaining anything to the people.
I want to on that thought. We saw a technical problem with you on the microphone, but we'll be right back, taking a short break. I do have Yusuf Farah, who's the Wajir West MP, and he's talking about the flood situation in the north, the whole country, and worst impacted areas are in the north country. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. Please don't go too far. Welcome back. You're watching NTV Weekend Edition. We were speaking, and we still do have, the Member of Parliament of Wajir West, Yusuf Farah, was talking about the response, the government response, or the lack of government response, I should say, on the floods and the worst hit areas of the northeastern. Please, my question is, and I say, why do you think there is minimal or no government response to northeastern?
My brother, James, I've already told you, if you see the northern Kenyan people, the road between Wajir, between Nairobi, Garissa, Wajir and Mandera has never been tarmacked since 1963, since independence in this country. The problem is government of Kenya don't think there are people who live on those parts of this area. They only come during campaign, give us pledges. They talk about the roads being constructed. They talk about electricity, the grid reaching northern Kenya. But after election, things die off completely. Nobody talks about it.
Are you going to engage the government, the government of the day, as leaders from northeastern counties to try and find a way on how fast to resolve the question, the problem that is there today? Let's talk about, people being cut off from the grid, food prices going up because there's no vehicle that can get there, lack of medicine and that sort of thing. What's your plan? What's the plan of the political class?
We have already engaged the president. The president responded yesterday. He said he will have a meeting with his cabinet tomorrow.
Is that enough?
We will see, because he said he will have a comprehensive, he will give a comprehensive briefing on what to do. So that is at least a point in the right direction. It's at least better than nothing. Before, we had nobody talking for us. Nobody in this country. The deputy president, the president, everybody was mum about this. But him coming out, acknowledging there is a problem in northern Kenya and the rest of the country, and acknowledging there is El Nino and floods in this country, itself is a positive thing that we welcome. We will see tomorrow what the cabinet will discuss and what coordination they will do with the local government or the county government, so that we will rescue those people who are starving at the moment. Because as we speak today, 12 kg of unga in Wajir is being sold at 2,500 shillings. From 950 shillings to 2,500. You can imagine that. If today there is a rationing in terms of electricity, there is no electricity, even in the hospitals. People might die. Anybody who wants ICU or anything cannot be attended to because of lack of electricity. Because they are using generators. No diesel or fuel to use at that particular time. No vehicles that are moving in Wajir. Most of the battery stations dried up. So you can imagine those kind of issues. And you can even think about the villages. For example, one of my village called Arbajan. People are calling me like as if I am the savior today, and I can do nothing about it. It pains me when my people are starving to death and I can't help them. I have no plane, I have no helicopter, I have nothing to assist them at the moment. We can try to talk and get well-wishers to get food, because we have food, we can get it here. But how shall we transport that food to those areas which are cut off completely? So this is what the government, we want the government to deal with. We want the government to airlift food and at least do airdrops, because even helicopters cannot land in some of the places because it is marooned by water. Nowhere. Even people, if I show you some of the photos here, people are sleeping on top of trees. They don't know what to do. Some are IDPs. I have 3 IDP camps in my constituency. One in a place called Giriftu, another one in Arbajan, another one a place called Gara. So you can imagine when you have that kind of situation and you can't help as a leader, it becomes an issue. And the government were not even speaking about it. If, let us say the way it is, if it could have been, I believe, if this could have happened to Central or probably in Rift Valley, government could have done better than this. We could have seen a coordinated approach on this. But when a deputy president of this country comes out and say that this is the counties to deal with, it becomes a problem, a disaster of that magnitude.
Are you disappointed generally with not only government response, but this is a new government? Are you disappointed by this government response? Are you generally disappointed by the collective, what we call sort of like national government response?
Collective.
Nothing has changed?
Nothing has changed. Zero. Up to now. Maybe from tomorrow things might change. And I hope so and believe things might change tomorrow. And that is what the people of northern Kenya and even coast, those who are affected by these floods, are hoping for. They will get a response, positive one, from the government they elected, the government of Kenya, which they pay tax.
Final thing, this is your camera. Please look, if you're to, the president is watching tonight, if you're to tell him exactly what's happening to the people of Northeastern and what kind of response do you need, what would that be?
I want just to address the president. The people of northern Kenya and the rest of this country needs you today. And this might be a litmus test to your government as we speak. The people are starving to death. They have no food. They have no medicine. And what we want as leaders and northern Kenya people is immediately food through airdrops and medicine at the same time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. You're talking to Yusuf Farah Wajir West, Member of Parliament, who's been talking around the government response and the questions about how aid and food can be delivered to the worst affected areas. To Akot Matanao and the family of a former